Mark, points-wise, Alexei had his best game of the season, but there's some fans out there probably saying you played too well tonight. How do you view tonight's outcome?
I mean, I'm happy for our guys, especially the guys that finished the game. You know, obviously Poku, to think about where he was at the beginning of the season, and then the way he played now is like a true, tangible example of a player developing. He played a lot of minutes tonight, obviously handled the ball. He played the point for almost the entire second half. Moses Brown, has had productive games before, but was in his coverages and stuff like that. And then like Josh Hall, like it's hard to, the guy was hurt the entire season, and it's his first year as a pro. He's on a 2-way contract. And, it's a pretty unstable existence when you're an undrafted rookie and then you're, injured all season. So for him to go out there tonight and play the way he did is just a really, really cool thing for, that guy. And again, is a credit to all the work that he's put in kind of on the margins without a lot of game minutes. And so I'm really happy for those guys and our players collectively. We've, for the entire year, remained consistent despite the outcomes of the games. And, they were all pulling for each other tonight, and those guys went out and played. So I give them a lot of credit, and I'm happy for them.
Thanks.
Paris Lawson with OKCThunder.com.
Hey, Coach, along those lines, you talk so much about wanting to finish strong and sprint through the finish line. Just how much pride did you take in the group for the energy that they brought from the jump and then carried out throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, really good energy, and a lot of them played a lot of minutes, obviously. We wanted to, give those guys one last run. And again, I give them a lot of credit. They grinded through the fatigue of the game, and they played really well. They played together on both ends of the floor. We shared the ball, we found good shots, we executed. And, like I said, I thought tonight was a good example of, kind of the developmental trajectory of a lot of our players. These are things that guys probably weren't going to be doing in the early parts of the season, but you put one foot in front of the other throughout the year, you weather the ups and downs and stay consistent, and you get better. And I thought tonight was an example of evidence that our guys have gotten better.
Jacob Unruh with the Oklahoman.
Mark, you talked about Poku, a little bit of point guard, but what did you like and what did you not like? What was kind of your evaluation of him at point guard, the way he ran the offense?
I was pretty impressed with, his ability to get us organized, for someone that doesn't play the position. He came in the first half, I kind of let him call the game a little bit just to see how he'd handle that. And I thought he did a great job. And then, the one thing, in terms of not liking, it's really not liking it, but when he gets pressured, I mean, he's 7 feet, and he's got these guards like climbing underneath him, and that's just evidence that, he's an underdeveloped body. I mean, he's the youngest player in the NBA. And so, that should be, pretty good fuel going into the off season. It's a huge off season for him in terms of his body, year 1 to year 2. There's a lot of big gains to be made. And if he really improves his body this summer and stacks that on top of the experience that he got this season, then when he walks back in the door next year, there's a lot to be optimistic about. So, I thought he did a great job within the circumstances. The stuff that he didn't do great is all stuff that he can improve on and that we've been trying to improve on all year. And, now he's got to step into a really, really important summer for himself.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Nick Gallo with Thunder Broadcasting.
Mark, Josh Hall talked to us about just utilizing all of the resources within the organization on and off the floor mentally over the course of time that he's been hurt this season and not gotten a lot of opportunities. What stood out to you about the way that he approached that and the way that he really tried to maximize what he could get out of the experience even when he wasn't playing?
Well, I mean, I referenced this, with Darius Miller. When he returned to the floor, I referenced it with Isaiah Roby, who rehabbed all summer while we were in the bubble. And now, I'll reference it again with Josh. Being injured, the stakes are high for these guys and they care so much. This is their life and this is their career, and their window to be basketball players is not wide. You don't play till you're 45. There's a short window of time that you can capitalize on. And when you get injured, it's a deflating experience. But what I'll say is, Josh has done a really good job of getting himself back to the court. It's a good lesson for him. And a good reinforcement of resilience and persistence. And we've got, like I mentioned, Isaiah, I mentioned Darius, Darius Baisley is another one, got hurt right after All-Star break and, kind of popped out of that injury better than he was before it. And that's something that we want to have in the air here, that, no matter what the setbacks are, we want to be able to leverage them for forward momentum. And I thought, I give Josh a lot of credit. He's had a tough year. It hasn't been easy going through what he's gone through. And he came out tonight and played really well and gave himself a lot of confidence going into the summer.
Harry Trammell with the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Mark, been a long season, been a trying season for everybody. We're at the end of it now. What are your emotions on just the season being over, and how do you think the guys feel in terms of the season being over right now?
I mean, I can't speak for them, but my guess would be, it's interesting. I haven't coached forever, but I've been around teams and been an assistant coach and a head coach before this. And what's interesting is the further away from the seasons you get, the more, the relationships of the people that you get to go through this experience with are of value. And so it was a challenging season because of COVID. It was a challenging season because of how short training camp was. It was a challenging season. The competitive experience is challenging for every team anyways. But, if you bond together and you march through that with a lot of optimism and connectedness and chemistry, then it can form, really meaningful relationships and bonds. And I thought this team was a prime example of that this year. We were not deterred by external circumstances. We were incredibly consistent. And if you walked in our gym on day one or in our gym yesterday, the vibe felt the exact same. It was not tied to outcomes or circumstances. And that's just a credit to the people on the team and the people in the organization and the quality of everybody. And so, my emotions are only positive right now. And I'm really optimistic going into the summer. I think a lot of our players have shown a ton of progress. I think everybody on the team has gotten better. And so it'll be good to take a deep breath and reflect on the year, but then get back to work because, like I said with Poku, then these guys walk back in the fall. I think we're going to be pretty excited about where they are after having had these experiences and then having a summer of development.
Jerry Ramsey with the franchise.
Kind of on Barry's level there. It is the end of the season. We talk about the development of the players all the time, but have you had a chance just to take a breath there and self-evaluate yourself? This is your first year. Did you turn over every stone like you thought you could this year? Did you accomplish a lot of what you wanted to, and just your kind of first thoughts of the end of the season?
I mean, I try to spend the postseason, especially the first few weeks right after the season in reflection and looking back on the year and the different experiences that I had and try to learn from it. There's certainly a lot of things that I can do better and that our coaching staff can do better and that our organization can do better. We want to continue to develop and progress just like our players. But, again, for a first year, because of the quality of the people that we have, on the team and in the organization, it made it really fulfilling and enjoyable for me. It's always challenging. And that's part of competition, and we wouldn't have it any other way. But it was enjoyable because of the people and the way that everybody worked, from our players all the way through our organization.